So now we got Lady in the picture down at Deanna's, and Deanna just got herself moved into her own house, and she wants a food station for Lady. So I'm going to build a food station. Picked up this piece of lumber last night at Lowe's. It's a solid panel that's been edge glued and then planed, so it's already pre-finished basically. It's like butcher block material. It's solid core wood. It's not particle board. But anyway, for about 30 bucks, and then I bought a couple of bowls. So I'm going to take and make a food station for Lady, and we're going to drop that off probably next weekend. You can pick up these bowls just about anywhere. Lady's a big water drinker. When she's here, she drinks a lot of water. So I got a very big bowl. I don't know. Let's see what the size of this is. 121.73 fluid ounces, whatever that is. I don't know. Probably 3 quarts maybe. Don't know if it's a gallon or not, but anyway. And then for a food bowl, this is the size bowl I feed my dogs. And Lady's a hearty eater also. So I picked these up at the big box store locally. You can get them on Amazon, you can get them on eBay, you can get them a lot of places. I buy them for my puppy feeders. I buy them in bulk. I buy big numbers of them. Get a much better price than what I got on these, but I don't know. So not too bad. It's stainless steel. I prefer stainless steel over ceramic. Definitely not plastic. Bacteria can grow on those things. These are much easier to clean. Dish soap, dishwasher, whatever. So that's what we're using for our bowls. Our layout is going to be pretty simple. It's going to be approximately 24 inches long. First thing to do is going to be to cut some material. Well, there's 24 inches right there on the back side of the square. So it's about what I need, 24 inches. Another thing is I'm not going to use my fence because of the size of these cuts. My table isn't big enough, so I'm going to have to freehand it. I did use a square. This is already planed and jointed piece of material, and it's very square edge, so I used a square. I marked my lines where they need to be. I got 1 end, 2 ends, a middle piece, and then the rest is some leftover. So I'm going to cut these freehand. I'm going to cut it in the middle first just to make it easier to handle. Okay. Okay, I got a lot of woodworking tools, but one thing I do not have is a joiner. So these edges are going to have to be sanded down to as close as I can get them to be in square. I don't have a planer or joiner, so it's got to be freehand. It's going to have to mate up to the side of the leg. Same thing on this end. That's it for that piece for now. The bowls are going to go there. Another reason I chose this type of material, it's glued up, so it's in a sense manufactured already. But if you try and buy a board, a solid pine, solid oak, solid anything, poplar, even the high quality stuff, you get beyond 12 inches in width, and you tend to get some cupping. Just the way trees grow and the growth rings, as they dry and cure out, they tend to cup and pull in with the grain. So having these glued up edges, with the purpose of using narrow strips of wood and gluing them edge to edge and then run them through the planer, is you get the same thing as a solid board, but you get an almost perfectly straight board. And this one really is really close. So, and I needed 15 inches for this big bowl. I needed a 15-inch front to back width. So I would have had to buy a 12-inch and a 6-inch to get my 15, and because they're not really true 12 inches, they're 11 and a quarter, and then something else. But anyway. Okay, this other end is the factory cut off the shelf, and checking it with the square, it's very square. So if I butt it up to the saw cut edges of these other boards, I can tell if there's any gap there at all that I need to be concerned about, and I don't think I am, at least not on those. That one's got a little bit of a crown or hump or something right there. So see if I can take a little bit of that out. The reason that that's important is so if it's sitting on the floor, I may put some floor foot type devices underneath there, I'm not sure. But yeah, that's a lot better. That's the factory edge. Let me check this last one. Pretty good for freehand cutting on a table saw. Like that. This one. I think we'll go like that. Like that right there. Like that. Okay, changed a little bit of the plan. Those end pieces, I'll probably still put a cleat on, I'm not sure. But another thing I thought of doing is to router a little channel in there. And so I ran a test piece through. I got it set up to where I want it. I'll have about a 3-inch rise above the tabletop for the sides. But this 3/4 inch router bit makes a nice 3/16 deep channel down through this. This scrap piece kind of got away from me because it's not big enough. The actual pieces should go quite well, so let me run those through now. Nice cut. Not very deep, just deep enough I can get glue in there. I clamp this up, it's going to hold, it's going to keep the board from ever wanting to warp, to give a good stability to it. Very nice. Okay. A little bit of tear out on the ends from that router. That router's got a lot of use, but little sandpaper down into here. Clean these up a little bit. Do a quick test fit. Doesn't really matter which end is up. You see what I'm going for here. This is the best way to show it. I could probably get away with gluing that and not putting a cleat below, but I don't want to do that. I want it to be a good tight joint. I want it to stay together, so I'll put a cleat down below, and that'll help support it. That's a cold joint there, a dry joint. It's not pushed together hard and it's not clamped, so that's what we're going for. Next I got to lay out and measure the holes and lay it out and cut the holes in the bottom. Now I'm marking the outside edge of the bowl on purpose, but that's not where I'm going to cut. So those should be my centers for my hole. Easiest way to cut that out is with a saber saw, jigsaw. And I have a handheld, I don't have a table jigsaw. But I drill a pilot hole on each one and cut those out. That'll be next. And set it for that mark. Come over here and check it. Yeah, we're right on the money. And I took a pencil and made my dash, my dotted line around there, kind of connect the dots. But you can take this. I'm a little off center there. I'm going to have to find center. Okay, there's my new center. My pencil mark in here was off. So now I can take that, and this little wheel will score a line basically on all them dotted dashes that I made. And it's all pencil. And what the saw blade doesn't take out, the router will when I roll over the edges. So, scribe around. A little bit off, but that's okay because as long as the hole's the right size, the bowl's going to fit. And I've got lots of room for adjustment either way. Inside my scribe line, secure your work to the table makes life a lot easier trying to hold it. This old tool is one of the first things I ever bought when I started buying tools for woodworking. And it's treated me well. Just like that. Okay, let's test fit. Big bowl. Look at that. Perfect. I'll use my road drum sander on this. Clean this inside edge. Put a nice router edge on it. Let's try the other one. Look at that. Perfect fit. I love it. Moving on. Okay, now we're getting down to one of my favorite tools to use. This is my oscillating belt sander slash drum or barrel sander. And I'm going to switch it over from the belt right now. So, just like that. I'm not going to hook up my dust collecting system because it's more work and I won't be at this very long, but here we go. You don't hear any skipping. It means there's a good smooth edge with no humps, no high spots, and you're applying equal pressure. That's the most important part. There's that bowl. Fits good. There's that bowl. Fits good. Well, we're almost ready for some glue up. What a good edge that puts on there. It's nice and clean looking. It's not perfect. Little burn mark right there, but when you get into the grain and the grain changes direction, you tend to get a little pull out, but it makes it just feel rough. You can sand and sand all you want, but you're probably not going to get all that out of there. I'm okay with it, and I know Lady will be too. Alright, we're at the point now where you want to look for any small imperfections that you just can't live with. Now's a really good time to clean up all your joint areas and look for anything that might be a problem later. Once you glue this up, it's a lot harder to get at the corner of the joint and fix something. So if you see something, a little blemish you don't like, sand it out. Now's the time. I have decided I'm going to drill pilot holes and run screws in through the end here before I glue it. I'm going to drill the pilot holes first, and then as I glue it, I will run the screws in, lay the backer piece on. This is the glue I'm going to use. It's just a regular original wood glue. Good stuff. very strong once it's dry. And these are the screws I'm going to use. They're basically coated 1 5/8 inch long, and it will go in to just about the right depth. Better check that though. Can't remember what I used this on last, but want to make sure I'm not going too deep. Yeah, that'll be just fine. Just enough for the head to lay flush. That'll be just about right. Okay, 5 holes there. They should be right down the middle of that dado, and they are. So that's good. That'll go in the end grain, and we'll get good penetration. We'll get good strength out of it. Those should hold just right. Okay, we're getting close. All right, it's time to do some glue up. Get in here. Doesn't take a lot, because what I don't want is I don't want a bunch of squeeze out. Squeeze out is just something else you got to clean up a little bit before you can put your finish on. Somewhere there. It's alright for that glue to get down in them holes. It's not going to hurt it, because those screws are going to come back through. This is wood glue. It's not a Loctite screw type adhesive. But I just run my finger over it real quick like that. Try and keep the edges as clean as you can, because that's that squeeze out that I was talking about. And if it does squeeze out and you want to stain it, you got to sand that away before it'll accept your stain. So, okay, first side first, going in. Another thing that glue does is it kind of acts as a lubricant. Hear that? That's good and solid. So it's went in, it's good, tight joint. Need to clean up my glue here a little bit. That's what I want. So now I gotta keep that on there. Do the other side. See how that's, maybe you can see that, maybe you can't. Really hard to tell here. See how that's pulled away? That's not good. That's a definite weak spot. But this should pull that all right back in. Number 2 Phillips. I always start in the middle and work my way out. Another thing you want to make sure is that you're good and flush on both edges. Good on this. Those are pulling in really nice. Getting a good hard bite on it. Now I'm going to put these screws in on the ends. I'm going to have to move that clamp. Let's go to the other side. I'm going to go very light on my glue app here. I don't want a bunch of squeeze out. Back together. Should go right back in the same spot. Screws will hit the same holes. I want to be able to see this edge. It's good. I think that's good. We got to squeeze out on the end, but we'll get that off with sandpaper. Super Bowl tonight. Any guess as to who's going to win, huh? Let's see what happens when I take this off. Okay, here we go. Okay, for all intents and purposes now it is done. I've sanded it. It's glued up, it's dry. It's been sanded. I used a laminate trimmer on the edges to knock off the sharp corners to soften them. I don't know. She doesn't want to stain, which I didn't want to stain it, but she doesn't know. She's probably going to paint it, but before it gets used, it's got to be sealed. Otherwise, moisture is going to get soaked right up and it's going to get funky. So I'll probably put some sealer on it, maybe tomorrow. Not tonight. Football game just started, so I'm going in the house. Lucky lady, I made her first feeder, and I've made her next feeder. Thanks for watching. Subscribe down below, give me a thumbs up if you like it. Tell me what you'd do different if you have an idea. Comments are always welcome. Thanks.